ladies and gents, this is Linda Faychick777, and today I'm coming at you because I thought we would do a real easy upcycle DIY farmhouse type project. I found this really great large size oval mirror at Goodwill. It was $3.99, had this wonderful ornate frame on it. It looked like somebody else tried to upcycle it, but they painted it in this shade of green that just doesn't do it for me. So by going into a neutral farmhouse colors such as grays and whites and blacks, browns, you can take these projects that you do and they're easily sellable at craft shows, easily givable as gifts because they are neutral and go in anyone's home decor. So today we're going to go in shades of grays and white for this mirror. But first, if you're not already a subscriber to my channel, go ahead and click the red subscribe button down below, because when you do that, we become fast friends, and I love to have a lot of friends. And also, I would love to have you follow me on my other social media platforms. I have links down below to Instagram and to my Pinterest. Come follow me on my blog. It will be a great creative journey together. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Okay, I already have the mirror taped off here in the center. You can see that not so pretty green I was talking about, and I'm going to paint it with the Waverly chalk paint. It's called Mineral, and this is just a plain old craft paintbrush. I've already painted some of it so as not to bore you with this technique. This Mineral is kind of like a taupey gray color, but it's nice, and it's going to be my base coat here. And once we get it painted, then we'll go in with the lighter color on top. And then I purchased this paint, this Waverly chalk paint, just at Walmart. It's about $6 for that jar. Okay, so now we're coming in with my favorite brush. It's a Zebra 1-inch round synthetic brush. And my favorite chalk paint, Debbie's Design Diary DIY in White Swan. And I purchased this at both of these at JamieRayVintage.com. I will put that link down below. I'm showing you on this brush, this paint is so thick that you don't need to put much on the brush and it will cover a lot of area. Now this is a water-based chalk paint as opposed to the Waverly chalk paint that is an acrylic chalk paint. And we're going to be wet distressing this project, and in order to wet distress, it is best to work with a water-based chalk paint. If you work with an acrylic-based chalk paint, you're gonna have to put some elbow grease into it. Okay, it's not really designed wet distress to work with an acrylic-based chalk paint. It's more designed to work with the water-based. I like to wet distress better than sanding, especially for, things like this that have a lot of detail, or this, frame is kind of like a plastic type frame, so you don't really want to sand on it. And when I'm sanding by hand, I cannot stand the feeling of that frictional heat between my hand, the sandpaper, and that project. So I like to wet distress. Now to wet distress, just get any type of like lint-free rag. And you need to make sure it's a kind of a nice wet rag. You don't want it really drier. You want it more wet as opposed to dry. So don't wring it out too much is what I'm saying. Wet your rag really well and don't wring it out too much. And then you literally just have to do what I'm doing. You are just rubbing along. You can see it takes no effort to rub that chalk paint and allow that detail to come through. Now with the water-based chalk paint, you have about up to 30 days before that chalk paint is going to set, before it's going to cure. You can do the wet distressed after that 30 days, but then you're going to have to add a little bit of that elbow grease. So the water-based chalk paint cures in about 30 days. But I love this wet distressing, as I said before. It's very easy. it doesn't take any effort to it. It allows that detail to shine through really nice. Once we're done wet distressing, we're going to go ahead and seal this because, as I said, it's a water-based. You can let it sit the 30 days, but I would still go ahead and seal it, especially for those things that are going to be handled a lot or touched a lot, or if you are painting a chair that's going to be sat on or anything like that, I would go ahead and seal it. And you can seal it either with a cream wax that I'm going to be using here, or like a spray sealer that you can find in, you know, the spray paint section of like Walmart or something like that. I just had this wax on hand, so that's what I'm going to be using here in just a few minutes. I just love how that detail shines through. I just love it. And I even rub a little bit on the smoother areas too, just to make it look a little bit more worn and distressed. But when you have something so detailed like this, it just really brings it out to do this process. And the more wet your rag, the more that top paint's going to come off. So this is by Americana Decor, Deco Art. It's not a bad wax for the price. It's fairly inexpensive. The brush I'm using here is a natural bristle brush versus the synthetic one. I'm trying to get all that out. Versus the synthetic one that I use for painting. And it's a boar hair bristle brush. I'll try to get that link down below for you too. I think I got it on Amazon. And I just like it better. You can use a rag to wax. That's perfectly wonderful. But I use the brush to get it on because it goes a little bit better into all the details. And then once you get the wax on, you have to let it dry, and then you go back in with the rag at this point and you buff it. And the more you buff it, the more shinier it gets. So I will go in and just kind of barely do a buff all the way around the mirror. I think I would prefer to using the DIY wax, but as I said, this is what I have on hand. So, and I can put that link down below for you to the DIY wax. And then once I get done waxing, I'm going to remove the tape off the mirror. A nice little trick for removing the tape is to use a craft knife and score along the edges where all the tape is, and when you peel it up, it gives you a nice clean edge. Now what you're going to see at the end, I forgot to take a picture of this mirror, is where I have it displayed on my craft bazaar table, and I went ahead and added a small design to the bottom of the mirror. I used my Cricut machine and cut out some vinyl, and I did a little design at the bottom, so you'll see that as well. It'll come up here very quickly. So I hope you enjoyed this process. I thank you for sharing your time with me. Please subscribe to my channel, follow me on my links, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.